All right, guys. Moving on to Tampa, excited about the opportunity. Sure you guys are all going to be wondering who's going to be the quarterback. Spencer Rattler will be the quarterback for this game. We talked a lot as a staff about what we felt like was the best thing for us and give us the best chance to win the game. That was the decision that we made, and we're excited about him getting an opportunity to go in there, and we'll let him go play and see what he can do.
What was the reasoning to pick him?
Yeah, I think we just internally, talked a lot about it and felt like, in this particular game that he was going to give us the best chance to win. Both him and Jake both have been practicing extremely hard, preparing to be the starter. It was kind of the conversation that we had at the beginning of the year that, Jake would be the two to start, but there wasn't going to be any it was really basically going to be kind of a week-to-week deal. And we just felt like this was, for this game, was going to give us the best opportunity.
What's the difference in choosing one to be the backup and choosing one to start a game?
Yeah. I don't know that there's a distinct, difference there. We just felt like this would be the right time for Spencer to get his opportunity.
And is there anything specific either about the matchup, the state of the pass protection?
Yeah, I think we'll keep all those things internal in terms of what went into making that decision. But there was a lot of discussion, and we came out of there feeling like this was the best thing to do.
You kept saying for this matchup, is that subject to change based on matchup?
As it's been all along, with those two, we're really kind of in a week-to-week deal with each one of those guys. So we're worried about this week right now, and then we'll see where we're at after that.
Can you update us on Derek's health and where he's at?
Kind of like the whole quarterback situation. It's week to week, really. I mean, he's got an oblique strain, and he won't be playing this week. We'll see where he's at come Thursday, and kind of go from there. But he's really week to week.
What have you seen from Spencer Rattler since the last time we were able to see him on a practice field?
Yeah, look, he goes against us, on the show team every day, and he's got athletic ability. He can throw the ball. He's accurate. He creates some plays on the scout team. So I just think this is a guy that he has a lot of ability, and certainly he's a rookie. So we know that we're going to have some challenges that go along with that. But I think we'll have a good plan for him, and we'll be excited about going out and playing.
Injured reserve a possibility for Carr? Or?
I don't think so.
And for Spencer, just like the reps that he was getting wasn't a lot. Like, was there something in that amount of time that I know you just touched on it, but anything that you saw with him specifically?
Yeah, I just think he's done a good job for us on the show team. Man, he's made some really good plays against our defense. He's made some accurate throws, and his mobility's been good.
Just what's that moment sort of like when you tell a 24-year-old rookie that he's about to get his first NFL start? I mean, what was it like?
Yeah, well, I think both guys. Spencer obviously excited, Jake disappointed, but both those guys are going to get opportunities as we move forward. So I wish I had something better for you.
That's okay.
I know those guys do some extra work every morning. How beneficial has that been just for?
Well, look, I think Jordan Traylor and Janoko, both those guys have done a really good job of working with these young quarterbacks. They spend a lot of time with them. They're out in the, we kind of start practice with a special teams session, and so they're out there working during those sessions, going through all the plays, going through the reads, going through the throws. So they've gotten both those guys have got a lot of extra work.
I know you said you don't want to get too much in the details of why you picked one or the other, but with the state of the offensive line right now, was mobility a kind of a key factor?
Well, that's part of it, but there was a lot of factors that go into it. But certainly we feel like he's got some mobility.
What did you make of the way he was able to play with so many different offensive lines in college, and do you think that could translate to the league
I mean, it'd be hard for me to say. I mean, look, he's been through a lot. You know, he's been tested in the fire, and he's come out on the other end. We're excited about, you know, him. We're looking forward to watching him play. And, you know, it's going to be incumbent upon us as coaches to put him in the best position to be successful.
Just because it's basically his first NFL snap in regular season game, is it different than when Derek is starting in terms of the expectation of we might need to make a mid-game change based on, because you've never really seen him do one, or and how long of a leash do you give a guy who's never played?
Well, look, I think you got to let the guy go in there and play. You know what I mean? I mean, we're not going into this game saying, you know, you make a mistake and we're going to pull you. I mean, he's going in to play. He's going to start. He's going to lead the team. And I think we go from there.
Should it be needed, who would be the emergency QB? Like, I know Alvin is trained.
Yeah, I think we're still going through those discussions.
Could you all possibly look to add another veteran?
We could, but I don't know that that's something that we're planning on doing right now.
Have you ever started a rookie quarterback?
Derek Carr.
Okay. I mean, like, is there anything that goes into a young guy like this? I mean, do you have any more conversations with him than you would with Derek about?
Yeah, look, I think here's the biggest thing. You know, you don't want to go into this thing like it's this major ordeal. You know, he's next man up, get an opportunity to go in and play, go play and have fun, do what you've been trained to do. You know, I think sometimes you can make too big a deal of it and create more of an issue than you really need to. So, you know, we'll go through the things that he needs to know. We'll get him prepared, and then we'll let him go out there and play.
Well, you say that you're going to get him prepared for what he needs to do. How much are you guys going to change the scheme around maybe his capabilities or limit?
Yeah, look, I think you're always kind of looking to see what your guys can do, what they can do well, and try to put them in the best position to be, you know, successful. I think it's challenging to say you're just going to totally run a whole new offense, you know. So, you know, we're gonna put some plays in that we feel like he's, you know, able to run, and we feel very confident in his ability.
If he's on the scout team, doesn't he run a whole new offense every week in practice anyway?
It's different. It's on a card, you know. Yeah, but you know, the reads aren't necessarily a lot different.
Is he more of a Jalen Hurts type, or a Pat Mahomes type, or a Dak type?
He's a Spencer Rattler type.
How do you think he'll handle all like the complexities of what Todd?
Yeah, I think he'll handle it well. I mean, I think it's going to be difficult. You know, Todd's always done a really good job with the defense there. A lot of exotic, you know, blitzes and pressures and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll get our fair share of those, and so, you know, we just got to prepare him for the looks that he might see, and then we got to, you know, count on his instincts to make some plays at times.
Was there, like, if we had asked you a week ago, like, did you kind of always have an idea in the back of your mind, like, Spencer would be the guy if Derek went down, or did it change recently?
I mean, I think, you know, early on, you know, there was really not a lot of, like, complex decisions and complex conversations that we had to make. We knew that if and when, you know, Derek ever had to miss some time, then we'd have to make some decisions, you know. So I think in that regard, it's always kind of been in the back of our mind, but yet there was no decision made until we got in here and really started talking about it.
Is Derek Carr going to be the starter when he comes back? I mean, is there a chance that?
Yeah, Derek Carr is going to be the starter. Yeah.
What are some of the things Tampa's doing well this year? Some stuff that stands out.
Well, look, I mean, obviously, you know, defensively, like I said, they got some good, you know, pressure packages, and you know, they can create some tough looks for the offense. Offensively, I think they're operating at a really high level. I think the quarterback's playing really well. He's able to create, make some plays with his feet, both running for first downs and being able to, find open receivers. He's kind of tough to tackle in the pocket. He's pretty slippery back there. I think they're doing really well in that regard. And I just think they've been consistent with what they're doing, offensively. Schematically, there's some similarities to, a couple of the teams that we've already faced. Maybe a little bit different in some of the things they're doing in the run game. But from a passing game standpoint, some similarities. I think they got some really good players. I think both the backs are good players, elusive in space. The Bucky Irving kid brings a different dynamic to their offense that maybe I don't think they've had in the last couple of years. Certainly they've got, Godwin and Mike Evans, and Shepard's come in and made some plays for him. So sounded like McMillan was maybe limited in practice today, I think. So there's a chance we might see him too. So he's a good young receiver. And look, the tight ends, Cade Otton does a really good job. I mean, he catches everything they throw to him and just seems to be a guy that gains yards every time he gets the ball. So I think offensively they've been really good.
Thinking about where Spencer was in the spring and like the improvement he showed over the summer, just what did you make of the way that he learns, and does he improve quickly in your mind? Like, how would you evaluate that aspect of?
Yeah, look, I think he's a pretty quick learner. I thought as he went along, I thought it got better, every single day. And when he had opportunities in games, I thought he went out and produced and played well, So hopefully that'll continue in regular season games.
How can Derek help Spencer?
I think just be a sounding board for him, help him with the process, help him with the learning part of it, be some eyes on the sideline for him. I think those are the ways that veteran quarterbacks can help a young guy.
How is Derek doing mentally with you?
Well, look, I mean, overall, I think he's doing okay, and yet I think he's disappointed that he can't be out here. He's a guy that hasn't missed a lot of time, doesn't like to miss a lot of time. So I think he's frustrated with that part.
Do you have any update on Will Harris?
Well, he's got a hamstring injury. I think he's a candidate for injured reserve.
Have y'all, I guess, taken a look or done any research, for lack of a better term, about all of the injuries this year and if there's any correlation between?
Yeah, I think we're in the process of gathering, some information, on that. And I do think that's an area that we've got to look to try to improve in, because certainly we've had, our fair share of injuries. And so I think we'd be crazy not to look into trying to figure out the reasons why and see if we can't solve some of those issues.
Am I correct that you guys were pretty happy with the soft tissue percentages numbers in recent years, and those have?
Yeah, I think the last couple of years it's actually been pretty good. This year's a little bit of an anomaly. So I think, that's something that we're kind of doing a little research in, gathering some information and seeing if we can't figure out, what we can do to minimize those things.
Is Cesar Ruiz close at all? Or?
He's getting closer, yeah.
Going back to, I guess, the injury thing, so last year the players, I guess, asked y'all a couple times, could we be out on the grass more? And I'm sure today is more of a recovery day than normal with the late game, but was that why y'all decided to go outside versus practice indoors?
Yeah, I think going outside, here's the challenge that you have here in going outside. It's typically not until probably early October before the weather gets to a point that it makes it, when you're going outside and it's 90 degrees and whatever % humidity, that has a tendency to wear on your body too. So I think that's the delicate balance that we face here is, being able to get out on the grass a little bit and yet, try not to spend too much time out in the heat.
Does the fact that you have a game, a short week, next week factor into how you're scheduling?
It does, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think we got to be, we played 3 games in 10 days. It's a lot of football in 10 days. So, yeah, I think the most important thing for us to do is get our rest, get our recovery, and make sure mentally we're sharp and ready to go.
Any update on Jason?
No. All good? All right.